The Denver Broncos have identified a major problem on offense, and Sean Payton is going to put a new plan in place to try to fix it. The Broncos have had a pretty big advantage throughout the majority of this season. On almost every single game this year, the Broncos have won the coin toss. Whenever Sean Payton wins the coin toss, he elects to defer to the second half. And even when the Broncos haven't won the coin toss, a lot of the Broncos' opponents have elected to receive and then give the Broncos the ball to start the second half. So a lot of games this season, the Broncos have had the opportunity to go out and get points in the first possession of the second half. Well, unfortunately, they haven't been able to take advantage of those opportunities. The Broncos have scored just one time in their opening possessions this season in the second half, and that was a touchdown against Green Bay. Aside from that, they have been completely shut out in that first possession, and that's a problem because especially when you score to end the first half just like the Broncos did against the Houston Texans, and then you go into the second half trying to double up and get even more points, that would put you at an even bigger advantage, and the Broncos just have not been able to do that. Well, Sean Payton is going to try something a little bit different for this upcoming game against the Chargers. He's going to script not only first half plays, where he normally scripts about 15 to 20 plays to open the game, he's also going to script opening plays for the second half as well. Let's come over here and take a look at this quote from this article from Chris Thomason of the Denver Gazette. This came from Sean Payton's media meeting this morning. I normally script the first 15 Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. Obviously, before we go to meetings on Saturday night, Payton said after the Friday practice. Then we go through it in the meetings. I'm not going to script the second half before the game starts, however. I'll put five or six plays together at halftime, and then I'll have my banana. The funny part about this is this full quote actually said, then I'll have my banana and go pee, but Thomason elected to leave that out. I thought that was kind of funny. But I think that the Broncos going into the second half with at least a few plays in mind, a few plays scripted to get the ball rolling and get that opening drive going, that could be really advantageous. Obviously, the first 5 or 6 plays could really account for that first drive, or at least the opening portion of that first drive to set the tone. Personally, I'm a big fan of doing a nice, long, extended drive coming out of halftime where you're running the football and really trying to take as much time off the clock as possible. That's a good time, in my opinion, to really try to pound your opponent into submission, obviously if the scoreboard allows. It allowed in the Houston Texans game. The Broncos just didn't do it. Now, Mike McGlinchey was with Kyle Shanahan for all those years in San Francisco, and Kyle is known for scheming plays or scripting plays both in the first half and the second half, and McGlinchey feels like it could be advantageous for the Broncos. I think it'll help us talk through certain situations, help us get on the same page for what's expected coming out of the half, for what Sean sees, what they're playing. I think it'll be great for us for sure. I don't think there was any problem with the way we were doing it, but obviously it's got to change because our results to start second halves have not been very good. And again, that's just an understatement. The Broncos' results to start second halves have just been absolutely putrid. Something's got to give here, and I really like this idea from Sean Payton to adjust what he's doing. This is something that we would not have seen from the Broncos' previous coaching regimes, even dating back to Gary Kubiak. Like, I don't even recall Kubes doing something like this. I could be wrong. That was really before I started covering the team and following the team at that true deep depth where I would know if the coach was scheming plays in the second half or not. But maybe Kube did that, but I know for a fact that it was never done in the Vance Joseph head coaching era. It was never really done in the Vic Fangio coaching era, both when Rich Scangarello and Pat Shurmur were the OCs, and it sure as hell wasn't done under Nathaniel Hackett. I really like this approach from Sean Payton, and we'll have to see if it yields better results coming out of the second half in the game against the Chargers.